Now, from the power of one, it's time to go to our next subject, and it's innovation in youth exchange. And who else can tell us more about innovation than Helmut? Helmut also had a nice PowerPoint presentation ready, and he will inform us about his view about the innovation in youth exchange. Helmut, are you there?
I'm there.
Yeah,
So,
there.
Helmut Lanfermann, chairman of the multi-district in Germany. Yeah, I have to speed up a little bit. Where are we coming from? We do have a kind of, I would call it status quo in respect of Corona. The coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 hit us early spring, and as we know, we are facing a severe pandemic situation around the world. Nevertheless, the safety of the people, the young people entrusted to us remains number one in all our actions whatsoever. Therefore, we had no new physical changes worldwide in the remainder of this year. So we had to postpone them into 21. We do need, from my point of view, to start the global program again, a reliable vaccine against SARS-CoV-2, which is currently not available. Nevertheless, there is, of course, a lot of expectation and hope that we will be able to get hold of that within next year, whenever that is. Looking into Europe, because we concentrated on the A in EMA now, we put the E a little bit in front of us. As a status quo, we faced for decades that exchange students in Europe had no real desire to go into European countries. They weren't, to use that phrase, not these countries were not sexy enough. They were always, or most of them were looking globally to get the intercontinental aspect achieved. And on the other hand, when you look into Europe, these countries represent a huge variety of different languages, cultures, landscapes, and so on. On top of that, we do see, of course, a global trend of increasing nationalism. And this is, of course, taking place in Europe as well, including divergent socio-political developments, which are creating a lot of grief, even in the EU. And from my point of view, I think it's worthwhile, especially to allow, especially young Europeans, to get the chance to discover within Europe people, citizens, communities in a European host country without any kind of prejudice. And of course, this is underpinning one of our core goals to contribute to world peace and understanding. So keep the program running on a regional basis, which is in this case the EU Schengen area. And I have to admit that this map is the most actual one you can download, and the UK is still shown as part of the EU, and we all know that it isn't, but this is the entire geography we talk about when we focus on EU Schengen area. What are kind of strengths do we have to going for this approach? One is the chance to raise a lot of awareness within for the European community among young people. Traveling without borders, because within the Schengen area, we don't need a visa. And I personally enjoy this very, very much since Schengen got set up. And the young people in Europe sometimes don't even realize that there used to be strict borders with visa requirements. We do have an existent European health insurance agreement, which is helping youth exchange within this European area. And when you look at a broader scale, we do have a comparatively high health standard and, thank God, a really reliable, good quality in medical care. You will remember the board decision from mid-June in respect of prerequisites we have to meet to continue youth exchange long-term as of January 2021. And I think with the mentioned aspects, we are a little bit easier off to meet those requirements. And another aspect, traveling to from host country. within Europe is comparatively easy. And if in Corona times, worse comes to worse, it's possible, even if required, to pick up an inbound by car if no flights are going on and so on. And last but not least, when you look into the end or at the end of an exchange, former exchange mates can easily be met because of the short distances, which is a benefit of a regional approach. So how do you get the ball rolling if you go for such a regional exchange? Actually, there's no rocket science whatsoever. It's just usual project activity. Someone has to kick it off. In this case, it was me actually for this approach to start in January 2021. All regional countries had to be approached. We established a small task force to work more closely on that with a representation cross Europe. And we asked each multi-district and district to contact their applicants about this region opportunity, which was sometimes very new to them because they decided to postpone the entire program till summer next year. And being aware that they would only face exchange students out of Europe within Europe, they sometimes rethought their decision. The numbers had to be collected of interested applicants, of course, which via shared documents. We had to come up with a proposal how to distribute the interested applicants across the participating countries because the figures were somewhat a little bit outlined. And last but not least, we are going to use the established organizational structures within the multi-districts and districts to carry out the actual exchange program. Where are we now? This is the status from Monday this week. Actually, there's a little bit movement in it. So on Monday, we had 9 countries taking part. Unfortunately, year before yesterday, I got a message from Norway that the current development in respect of coronavirus won't allow them any longer to participate in this program for half a year as of January. In total, now we have roughly 330 applicants interested in a European exchange for half a year. And the last thing this task force is supposed to do is by the end of September to allocate the applicants to the individual host countries, because we came up with the aspect that language aspect is a little bit a problem. Normally, you got a full year to really dive into the language, and going for half a year, as from January to mid 2021, you need a very good start in this half-year approach, enable you to pick up the national language. But as I mentioned before, Corona is only the kickoff aspect. We do have a general aspect to follow, which is to increase the attractiveness, the perceived attractiveness of European countries or destinations within our European applicants, the so-called Generation Z, and we must highlight to them this attractiveness and very important, these huge variety of different leisure programs Rotary is preparing for them in the individual countries. Therefore, we need short descriptions per countries. We need a quick video schemes overview to arouse interest and build appetite, raise appetite for Europe, because we have to meet the social media channels these Generation Z is using. And actually, this is not email and text intensive stuff anymore. That is so old fashioned and boring, and they wouldn't even spend time on that. So in the end, I will show you the first movie prepared by Rotex Italy with the title Discover the Beauty of Being European. And one aspect I would like to highlight is the fact that we get a clear indication that we are able in this regional area to intensify our dialogue between the multi-districts and districts for sharing ideas, come up with new opportunities and so on, which is a kind of side effect working on this regional approach. And last but not least, those are the people we work for, to enable them to get their dream set up in keeping the program running, despite the fact that at the moment, global exchange turns out to be really difficult in Corona times, but focusing on the regional exchange, I think we will be able to allow a lot of young people to fulfill their hope, even if it's not global scale, if it's European scale. Thank you for listening. And I think I would like the little film to show up.
Thank you very much, Helmut.